Hello guys, and welcome to part 1 of this little animation tutorial, which we're going to be doing in Blender 2.9. Now it's going to be this little rocket with this little alien that pops his head out. It's really cute, and we're going to be doing the bare minimum to kind of get this overall effect. So I'm going to be keeping it as simple as possible. And there's going to be 2 other parts after this one. Now this blend file here is going to be available on my Patreon, and that can be something you guys can get and check out. And it's also a great way to support the channel. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you learn something. Okay, so we have a new scene opened up in Blender 2.9, as you can see down here. What we're going to do is we're going to select all of the default objects. We're going to hit X and we're going to go delete. We're then going to hit 1 on our number pad. That's going to take us into our front orthographic view. We're then going to go Shift A. We're going to go down to Mesh Options and add in a cylinder. We're then going to come over here to add cylinder, and let's make the vertices over here a count of 16. So we're going to type in 16 and hit enter. And you can see that's what we want. So we're going to just drop this down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to tab into edit mode. And with all of this geometry selected here, we're going to hit G and then Z. And then we're going to move it up. And if you hold in Control or Command, you can snap it to the grid. So we're going to snap it right here. So you can actually see here by looking at the grid what the reference is here. Once we've done that, we're going to go to our edge select here and Shift Alt. We're going to click on this edge here, and that's going to select this edge with Shift Alt, clicking on it. Control B, and we're going to make a bevel. So Control B or Command B, and then we're going to roll our middle mouse button once just to add in an extra segment. We're then going to go Shift Alt and click on this top edge, and then we're going to go G, Z, and we're going to move this up, holding in Control. Once again, we're going to snap it to the top here. And once again, you can look at the grid spacing here for reference. Then we're going to go S just to scale it a little bit like that. And then we're going to go E to extrude, and we're going to extrude it up to about here. And then we're going to go S to scale it down like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go Shift Alt, click on this loop here, and we're going to go Control B to bevel it. So Control B once again. We're going to bevel it like this, and then roll our middle mouse button to add in some extra segments. So we're just going to roll it twice, just so we get that. Once we've done that, just deselect. We're now going to come over here with our cursor. We're going to go Control R. You're going to see a yellow line appear. So we're going to double click, and then double G, and we're just going to slide this guy down to about here. Now what this is going to give us is going to be our window, our door here. So if we select this guy here, this face, so go to the face select and then select this face here, and holding in Shift, select these 4 faces. So these 4 faces are essentially going to be our door. So for now, we're just going to go X and just delete those faces. We don't need them. Actually, we do need them. So just undo that. What we're going to do is we're just going to go hit P, and we're going to separate selection. Okay, so now that's its own object. So if you just tab out of it, object mode, you can now see, so if you tab into object mode, you can now see we have this guy's an object and this guy's an object. So just select the big one, tab into edit mode, and we can now edit further here. So let's go back to our edge select over here, Shift Alt and select this edge here. And now we're going to go Control and B, and we're going to bevel this guy, roll down the segments just so we only have one cut like this, and then go Control minus or Command minus to shrink the selection, and then S to scale it in like that. We're then going to go Control R, double click, double G, just to slide in an edge loop here, and the same thing down here, double G, just slide it up. And now we're also going to go and give this guy a subdivision surface modifier. We're going to go to tab out, go to object, and then go shade smooth. Tab back into edit mode, and then we're going to just Shift Alt, click at this edge of, select this edge of up here, hit X, and then just delete that face. Okay, so what we can do now is if you actually go into object mode and you select this door and you just hit H to hide it, so just hit H, and then you grab this guy, you can see because of our subdivision surface modifier, we're getting some issues here. So what we need to do is with our edge select is just hold in Shift and Control, and so click on this guy and then click on this guy, select this guy, and we're just going all around and we're selecting these edges here, the edges of this door here, right? So just select those guys. Then you're going to go Shift E, and with Shift E, you're going to create a crease. We're then going to select this guy here, holding in Shift, select this guy, and then this one, and then this one, and then go Shift E again and just tighten those up. And that's just going to sharpen that up for us, which is what we want. We're then going to go Shift Alt and click on this bottom loop of edges and go Control plus or Command plus just to grow the selection. And we're going to keep growing it until we get to the top here. So we have this bottom selected. Then we're going to go Shift D to duplicate, right click to let go. And then we're going to go Alt S and scale it in. So with Alt S, just scale it in along the normals. And now that you've done that, we're going to, with Edge Select still enabled, deselect everything and then Shift Alt, click on this edge here. That's going to loop select that frame and then Shift Alt, click on the inside one as well. So we have these two selected. Then we're going to go Control E, and then once you've hit Control E or Command E, you're going to go down and bridge edge loops. And that should bridge everything here. At the moment it's a bit of a mess, so let's just disable the subdivision surface modifier here quickly. Select this edge here, this edge in here, and holding in Shift Seal just this edge. And with those four edges selected, we're going to go Shift E again and just tighten them up. Now if we enable our subdivision surface modifier, it should look a lot better. Okay, so it's still not perfect, so you can just go Control R, add in loops here, double G just to slide them, and do it up here as well, just to fix some of those weird shading issues that you're getting. Okay, so that looks okay for now. Maybe on top of that, I'll just add an edge split, and that should clean things up a little bit. Now these edges are quite sharp. You could probably put a bevel on that somehow, but I'm just gonna leave it as this for now. So what we're gonna do is, for now, I'm just gonna go over here and just add a placeholder material. So this is not gonna be the actual final shader. So I'm gonna click here on New. I'm just gonna call it Rocket 1. And then I'm gonna go, just close this down. We're gonna go down to the viewport display. And I'm just gonna give this a temporary viewport color, like that. So that's just a viewport color. Then we're gonna tab into edit mode, and I'm just gonna select this top edge, Control plus, just to grow the selection, like this. And then hit plus again, New, and then assign it to those selected faces. And then let's just call this Rocket 2. And go ahead and assign. And go down here and just give it a color. I'm just going to go with kind of like a purple, like that. Once again, this is not the final shader, it's just a viewport display. Then I'm going to select this edge loop in here, Shift Alt, click on this edge, just select this edge, Control plus to grow the selection. And then we're going to click on the plus here, go New and Assign. And let's just call this Metal. And we're going to come over here to the viewport display and just drag up this metallic slider to make it look like metal. Control and Shift and just click on this edge here and this edge here, and then Shift E just to tighten up those edge loops, like that. So that's what that is looking like so far. So what we need to do now is model the top pointy part of the rocket, which is super simple. So in edit mode, we're just going to go Shift Alt, click on this edge, Shift D to duplicate, and then let go. And then we're going to go E to extrude, and then Z and extrude it up just a little bit, and then S to scale. And then E to extrude it up a little bit. And then we're going to go E to extrude and S to scale, just a bit. And then G, Z, and bring it up a little bit. Just like that. And then we're going to go E to extrude it up and Z. Bring it to about here, and then S to scale it in. And then E to extrude it up one more time. S to scale it. And then E to extrude one more time up, and then S to scale it. Control R out in the loop here, S to scale it a bit. And then what we're going to do is just go Shift A, and we're going to add in, while we're in edit mode, a UV sphere. Come to the UV sphere settings and just make the count over here 16, and the bottom count you're going to make 8. And then we're just going to go G, Z, and bring this guy up to the top, and then S to scale that guy down, just like that, and then G, Z, bring it down. Okay, so what we're going to do now is select both of these. So I'm just selecting the geometry, go Control L, that'll select all of it. And then we're going to go over here and just assign that metal material. Tab out of edit mode, go to object and enable shade smooth just to give it that shade smooth look. Okay, so that is the main body of the rocket. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go Alt H to unhide that door we made earlier. And if this guy, we're just going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to go A to select everything, and then Alt S, and we're just going to scale it in along with normals just a little bit. Then we're going to give this guy a subdivision surface modifier, and obviously we need to come in here and just go Control R, add in a loop, double G just to slide it up, that'll tighten things up. And the same here, Control R, double click, double G, just slide it down. And then hovering over here, Control R, double click, double G, and then do the same thing over here, just like that. Then tab out of edit mode, go to object and enable shade smooth. And let's give this guy a solidify modifier. So it's going to solidify it. So let's go over down here, come to the thickness amount, and under the, if you go to the modifiers, just under here, the thickness amount, we're going to bring it in just a little bit, like that. So if I just grab the rocket and I went H to hide it, you can see this is the thickness of the door. And on top of that, we can also just add a bevel. Let's just quickly try a bevel modifier. And with the bevel, let's go over here to the, let's just have a look here. This is kind of new to me. Let's just come down to the limited method. I think with the new Blender 2.9, we just come down here and let's just get the angle. So this is where the angle, the limit method sits right here. So just click on here and then make it angle. And now we can just come over here and decrease this amount till the bevel looks right. So I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit, just messing around a bit. And you can also increase the segment count a little bit, just to make it look a little bit rounded out around the edges. You might have to go Control A and just also apply the scale. Okay, so once you're happy with that, what you can do is just give this guy that same Rocket 1 material and tab out of edit mode. And then you can go Alt H and that'll unhide the rocket from before. So now let's make the fins of the rocket. So that's pretty simple. So we're going to go Shift A. We're going to go over to our options here, add in a cube. Then hit 3 to go into your right orthographic view. And then you can go S and you're going to go Y and you're going to scale this guy down on the Y. So S, Y and scale it down like that. Then go to your front orthographic view by hitting 1. Then you're going to tab into edit mode and you can see your little orange dot there. That's your origin point. If you don't see it, just come up here and then go down, make sure origins is enabled. You're going to go G, X and move this guy over to right to here and then G, Z and just move it up a bit like that. Now we're going to tab out of edit mode, go Control A and just make sure to apply the scale. Then we're going to come Shift A and we're just going to add in an empty, add in a cube. And this cube is going to be our reference. So with this guy now selected, we're going to go to our modifiers, give this guy an array modifier, and we're going to come over here to object offset, enable that, drop down and let's select that empty. And we're going to come here to the factor of X and set that to 0. And now if we grab this empty here and we go RZ90 and hit enter, that's what we'll see. So now we can now select this guy, come back to the modifier here and increase this to a count of 4. So now this guy is being arrayed in a circular array and this guy is determining the amount by which that happens. As you can see with its rotation, which you can see over here in the item. So right now it's set to 90. So if this guy here, the empty, we're just going to hit M, click on new collection and then go OK. Come up to your collections here and just untick that so you don't see it, even though it's still there. So what we're going to do now is just tab into edit mode with this guy and go G, Z and just bring it down to here. And then go into wireframe, go to vertex select, select these two vertices here in front view, go G, X and move them in to about here. And then we're going to grab this guy and we're going to move him up to here. Bring this guy in just a little bit more like that. Then we're going to go Control R to add in a loop cut, double click, select these two vertices in the bottom and just bring them down a bit. And then we're going to give this guy a subdivision surface modifier. And then we're going to come in here, go Control R, double click, double G, just to slide in an edge to tighten that up, and do the same thing here. Control R, double click, double G, and then that should be okay. Maybe even one in here. Control R, double click, double G. Tab out of edit mode, go to object and enable shade smooth. And we can also come over here and just bump up the render in the viewport and the display. So that looks a little bit better. And I'm going to give these fins their own material. So let's just quickly go to the material slot here, go new. Let's just call it fins. And once again in the viewport, I'm just going to make this a color. I'll make it like a reddish kind of color for now and just leave it at that. So this is pretty much the rocket, but what we might have to do is just select the door here and just hit H to hide it. Just grab the rocket, go into edit mode and Shift Alt, click on this edge here just to loop select these vertices. Then you go Shift D, Z, and just bring it up to here. So that's just going to create the floor, and then we're going to go S to scale it up a bit. And then we're going to go Shift D, Z, and just bring it up. Scale it down, and that's just going to create a roof up there like that. So now we can go Alt H in object mode, and that's all good. We can also go Shift A and just add in a plane. And then we're going to go S 10 to scale it up 10 times. We could always scale it up a bit later. And then just go Control A just to apply the scale. So that's going to be a floor or a landscape, which we will get into a little bit later. Okay, I also just remembered one thing you want to do is add a little funnel down here where the exhaust comes out, whatever you call that part. So we're going to go Shift A, just simply add in a cylinder. And once again, we can just come over here, make the vertex count 16. Oops, that was a mistake, 16. I want it to be 16. Drop this down, then tab into edit mode. And then we're just going to go G, Z to bring this guy down so the origin point is sitting at the top. Then tab out, S to scale it down, and then we're going to go G, Z, bring it up till it's touching the rocket. Tab into edit mode, and then we're going to go Shift Alt, select this bottom loop, and just scale it out like that. And then we can go X and just delete those faces. And we're going to go Control R just to add in the loop here, and just S to scale it up just a little bit. We can also go Shift Alt, select this top loop of vertices, go X and just delete faces. Quickly go over here and just give this guy a subdivision surface modifier. And then we can just leave it at that. So I'm going to go to Object and just enable Shade Smooth. Let's give this guy its own materials. Let's go New and call it Funnel or Exhaust. You can call it whatever you want. And I'm just going to make it black in the viewport display so we can see it has its own material. And then one thing I'm also going to do is just select this door here, and I'm going to hit H to just quickly hide it. Grab this guy, tab into edit mode, and then go to the face select option. Select this face at the bottom, go Shift D to duplicate it, and then S to scale it a bit, and then E to extrude it up, and then S to scale it in a bit. And then I'm going to go Control L just to select the whole thing while I've got a face selected. Then I'm going to click on the plus here and go New and Assign, and I'm going to call this Glow. And I'm going to come here to the viewport and make it blue. And I'm going to go Shift D, Z, and make another one and bring it to the top here. And just go S to scale that guy down. So just like that. Okay, so now we have that glowing element in there. So what we're going to do is go Alt H in our object mode just to get rid of that. So I believe we got the rocket done. I might actually just come up here. I think this looks a little bit childish. So I'm just going to change mine a little bit up here, but you don't have to do this. I'm just going to dissolve these two edges and just scale it in like this. Just trying to do a little bit of a different look here. I'm not quite happy with it. So I'm just going to make mine a little bit more like that. I think that looks a bit better to me, but it's totally up to you how you want to do that little stylish feature at the top. Also, the fins are completely up to you how much you want to change them and customize them. Like you can come in here and make them a little bit more down, a little bit more exaggerated. Completely your kind of style, it's up to you, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So the next part in the modeling is going to be just to make the little character. So to make things a bit simpler for us, I'm just going to select all of these objects here, and I'm going to hit M. I'm going to go New Collection, and then I'm going to call this Rocket. And then hit OK. And now all of these items here are on a layer called Rocket, so I can just unhide this layer called Rocket. And then select the one called Collection. And in the collection here, this is where we'll be modeling our little character. And we can always just get our rocket back in the scene or get it out of the way. So this makes things a little bit more organized for us. So to make our little character here, it's going to be quite simple. In our front orthographic view, we're going to go Shift A. We're going to add in a UV sphere. Come over here to the sphere options, and let's make the top segment count 16. And the bottom one, we're going to make 8. So we work a little bit more low poly. Then what we're going to do is go into wireframe mode. So hit Z, go into wireframe, and then go into edit mode. So tabbing into edit mode. Select this bottom vertex and then go Control plus to grow the selection. We're going to hit it just twice and then go X and delete faces. We're then going to select this bottom loop of vertices and just scale it a little bit. And then we're going to go E to extrude and S to scale it. And then we're going to go E, Z to extrude it down, and then E to extrude and S to scale it in, like that. And then E, Z to extrude it down a bit, and then E, Z to extrude it down even more. So we're gonna go about that much, and maybe even a bit more like that. And then we're gonna come in here, Control R. You can see a loop appearing. We're gonna go roll our middle mouse button to add in some more segments, about this many, and then just click them in. So that's looking good. We're also gonna come in here, Control R, double click, and then S to scale that out. And then we're gonna come in here, Control R, double click, double G, just to slide in a loop. And now let's give this guy a subdivision surface modifier, like that. And we're also gonna just select this loop up here, go to our proportional editing and just go S just to scale that a little bit, just to make it look a little bit more like he has almost a chest at the top. So not too much. And then what we're gonna do is disable this, select this top vertex and then go Control plus, just to grow the selection like this, and then hit H in edit mode just to hide that. And now that we can see in here, we're gonna go Shift A, we're gonna add in another UV sphere in edit mode. And then we're gonna go S to scale this guy down a bit, and then G, Z, and bring it down to here. And then select this loop here, and then go Shift D to duplicate. And then we're gonna go E to extrude and S to scale it in, and then G, Z to bring it down to there. And at this point, let's add in some viewport color. So we're gonna click on our materials tab here and go new. Let's just call this one suit, right? And then go assign. So by default, it'll be applied to everything here. So let's just give it a viewport color, make it yellowish. And then we're gonna go to face select and Shift Alt. We're gonna click on this loop of faces here to select this guy. Click plus and then go new and assign. Let's just call this collar. So it's the collar, it goes around the neck, and let's just assign it. And let's just make this guy kind of like an orange in the viewport. And then with this guy here, we're gonna just select this ring that goes around the neck here. All of those faces, click on the plus, but this time we don't wanna click on new, we wanna come to the drop down, and we're gonna select a color, material that already exists, and that's gonna be the metal. And then we're gonna go assign. So that's gonna have the metal applied to it. And then we're gonna select the head here, go Control L, with a face selected, just to select that guy. Click on the plus here, go new, and then assign. And let's call this skin. So I'm just gonna give it a rough viewport display color, like that, kind of like a blush or something. And then I'm gonna go Shift D and S to scale one of these guys down. Go to my right orthographic view by hitting free, and then go S, Y, and flatten it a bit. Then I click on the little plus, go new, and assign. And I'm gonna call this eyes. And I'm gonna make this guy darker in the viewport display. Go to the top view and then go G to move it forward, and then rotating it a little bit. Go to your front view and just move it down. So we're just trying to create these rough little, very stylized kind of little eyes, and I'm just placing them in here, scaling them up a bit. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm gonna go Shift D, X and move them over. And then in my top view, I'm just gonna rotate them this way just to adjust them a little bit. So just till we have something that looks like that. And then we're gonna, with our face select still enabled, select these two faces here by holding in Shift. And then we go E to extrude, S to scale, and then E to extrude them in. And then we're gonna go E to extrude, S to scale, and then E to extrude one more time. So we're just creating a little cavity in there. Then we're gonna go Control plus with those faces at the back selected just to grow the selection. Click on the plus again, go new and assign. And let's just call this inner mouth. And let's just create a viewport display color. I'm gonna make it kind of like pink. And then we're gonna go to the vertex select option and just move some of these vertices down just to create kind of like a little bit of a customized mouth shape. And then one other thing you can do, it's optional, let's just select a face at the top here, and then go E to extrude it a little bit, and then E to extrude a bit more, and then S to scale, and then E just to extrude it a bit, and then S to scale, just to kind of create this little alien kind of antenna thingy. And you can do the same thing here. I'm not even mirroring it, I'm just gonna eye it. This can be really, really basic. So just something like that, create a little antenna. And then also we can go Alt H just to unhide the rest of the faces in here that we hid earlier. And I'm just gonna loop select some faces here, go Control plus, just to select all of this glass dome at the top. And then with that guy, once you have them all selected, you're gonna go plus, you're gonna go new and assign them. And let's call this material glass. And to see that it's been assigned, let's just come over here and make it a bluish kind of color in the viewport display. So now that is its own color. You can also just hit H to hide them in edit mode. But when you go tab into object mode, they won't be hidden. So go back to object mode and then go object and then enable shade smooth. So now if you just tab into edit mode, those will not be in the way. And if you see any of this weird shading, just hit A to select everything and then go Control N and then go recalculate outside, and it should fix that weird shading issues. So here we have a little cute stylized astronaut alien guy. So let's just tab out of edit mode and let's just actually go back into edit mode and then go Alt H just to unhide everything. And then hit A to select all of this geometry and go G, Z, and just move it up so it's sitting on that red line and that the origin point is sitting at the bottom. We're then going to tab out of edit mode, and at this point we can now go Shift A, we can go down to our armature options. So click on armature, and that's going to add in a bone here. And then we're going to tab into edit mode with this bone selected. And we're going to go E and Z, and we're going to extrude a bone up to about here. And then we're going to do it one more time, E and Z. And then we're going to go one more little one, that's going to be the neck up here. End it right here. And then we're going to go E, Z, and extrude one big one up to the top here, like that. So you can see what I've done here. I'm going to tab out of edit mode, like this. And now we're going to select this guy first. Then holding in Shift, we're going to select the rig over here, the armature. Then we're going to go Control P, and we're going to go to with automatic weights. So Control P and then with automatic weights. Now if we just select this rig here, you select the bone that's following along. But what we can do is click on this little guy down here, go to the viewport display, and then just click on in front over here. So now we can always see the armature, which makes it a little bit easier to animate. And if we now go to the pose mode with this rig selected, we can now select this bone and kind of roughly edit this guy. Now it's not perfect, so we can always edit that if we have to later. So we might actually have to. So what we can do is, I'll show you quickly an easy way to do that. Just go to object mode. So select the rig in object mode, and then holding in Shift select the mesh. Then just go over here, go to the drop down, and then go to weight paint. So now all you have to do is hold in Control and click on a bone that you want to select. In this case it's the heads. You can see it's got an active outline. And then we're going to go to the, you can see we have the draw brush here selected. So let's just go and just paint in the rest of this. If you hit F, you can grow the brush size. So all of this red is going to be affected. So we're just painting it in here, just at the top of the head. Just like that. Okay, just painting around. Anything we want this top head bone to be affected is going to be the more redder, warmer colors. So now if we hit R to rotate the bone, we can see that looks a lot better. Okay, and you can hit Control and then click on this guy at the neck, and then you can come up here and change the brush to a subtract and just kind of subtract some of this helmet at the top here. So just so the bluer it is or the cooler it is, the less influence this little neck bone will have. So just a really, really simple little character which we can test out. So holding Control, select the bone, and if you select the bottom bone here, you can see everything will move along. So now we can go over to object mode again. So click on here, go to object mode, and now we have a super easy little quick character that was simple to make. So what we can do now is we can click on this rocket layer and bring it back. And then we can obviously just select the character here and the rig. In fact, all you have to do is select the armature because the character is parented to it, and then just go S, and you can scale that armature down, and that'll scale your character to whichever size you need. So I'm going to scale it just to about here. Then I'm going to go G and just move him over to the side here for now. So he's just sitting over there. We'll get to that a little bit later. But before we get into our animation, I want to select this door over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our object data properties. We're going to click on the plus here under the shape keys, and we're going to click it twice. And then we're going to see a basis and a shape key. So you want to select the shape key option here. And with the shape key selected, you want to go into edit mode with this door selected. Then you want to go into your right orthographic view. And in your right orthographic view, you want to hit A to select everything, and make sure you're also in wireframe mode. Then you're going to go G, and you're going to move this guy up into here. And then you go R to rotate it a little bit and just move it up. So right there, just so the door is kind of nudged up in there. Then you're going to tab out of edit mode. And now if you select this key 1 and you come here to the value slider, if you drag it up to 1, you can now see that we have a sliding door with the shape key. So now we can animate this later on to have an opening door without any sort of fancy rigging. So this is a very simple little way of getting around this. Obviously it's not that fantastic and it has its limitations, but it's a nice little technique for something that's really simple like this little project we're working on. So now we have a little character here, like I've already shown you. So once again, you can't really see the head, but you can just always hide these faces in edit mode if you want to see it. So now we have a little character here and we have a rocket. So in the next thing, what we're going to be doing is going to be our animation, and that's going to be in part 2. And then in part 3, we'll finish off with materials and all sorts of things like that, and try and create a finished rendered out little animation.